I desire some Procreate tips. Do you want to do a segment on Procreate tips?
Sure.
Do it right now. Segment time.
So what kind of Procreate tips are we talking about here?
Ursula's gonna give us some hot tips for how to do Procreate right now.
Okay.
How do you use this program? I don't understand.
Goodness. Procreate tips.
Magpie tarot deck. It's all Dennis.
What are we looking here? More advanced. That's hard. I'm like, what do I do that's advanced?
That's true. Okay, the segment is closed. We didn't do a good job. She doesn't know anything. Run. Find a better teacher.
Layer limit. That's a good idea. Okay, so when I'm working on black and white comics, I work at a very large canvas size because when you're printing black and white, you want it to look very crisp. So you need a higher DPI, usually like 600 DPI. When you're doing color comics, you can do like 300 to 350 DPI, and that's like all you need. Doing more is just like wild and too much. But with black and white, you definitely want it to be crisp. So I use big file sizes, big DPIs, just so that they can print really, really nice. And they do. But when you're working in Procreate, there is a limit to how many layers you can do. I'll show you how big my canvas size is because it's pretty wild. So for Magpie, I'm working at 4,961 pixels by 7,016 pixels. So yeah, so that's pretty big, and Procreate doesn't like that, so it will it limits how many layers you can use on it, which is crappy when you're working because you want to keep your stuff all in separate layers so that it doesn't get messed up. But unfortunately, I don't know a workaround for it. But what I do when I am working in black and white is so you're limited to 3 layers at the size I am. I think if you're probably at a smaller size, a little bit, you can squeeze more layers in there. So I usually have my sketch layer down at the bottom, and I just keep at a low opacity. And then I work on the 2 layers above it. So usually what I'll do is if I'm drawing something new, I'll put it on this top layer 3 here, and then do all the new stuff. And then if it's something I don't like or I need to erase it, then I can erase it without affecting the stuff on layer 2. And then when I like it, I'll just take it and I'll merge it down. And then I have room to start a new panel or character or page or whatever that I'm drawing. So that is how I work. It's a little chaotic. I know some people probably wouldn't like it, but I'm a weirdo who works on like 1 or 2 layers, even when I'm coloring. So that's how it works for me. And also, the way I work in Procreate with like paneling is I tend to use Procreate just for drawing because I don't really like its panel, like the ability to draw panels. Like there is a grid, so I could add like a grid and do my panel layouts there, but because there's like the layer limit, I don't want to waste a layer on like having panels and speech bubbles and stuff. I tend to keep my panel and speech bubbles on the same layer, FYI, but you don't have to, but that's what I do. So yeah, so I usually use Procreate for drawing, and then I'll take it and I'll export it to Photoshop or Clip Studio, and I think you can export it as like a Photoshop file, so a PSD, and then that you can use that in Photoshop or Clip Studio. But I don't think you can export it explicitly to Clip Studio files. Yeah, and then I'll do my speech bubbles and my panel layout stuff in Photoshop for me. So yeah, so that's how I do it. We can squeeze a top 5 video out of this. Talk about why you letter in Photoshop real quick. Yeah, so I do my lettering in Photoshop because I like the text tools you can use. I don't have Photoshop on my iPad, so I can't show you right now. but it has a lot of flexibility around like your kerning and leading, which is like the space between letters or the space between like lines of text. So you can make that however spaced out or condensed as you want. You can do that also in Clip Studio. I just don't like the controls quite as much. Sorry, my throat just made a weird noise. But yeah, but I don't like the controls quite as much as I like them in Photoshop. I have seen cool stuff with InDesign where you can, you basically create like a speech bubble as like a frame, and it'll be a vector, so you can change it to however size and shape you want, and you can set like the text inside with like, I guess like with a padding on each side, so then no matter how you size your bubble, your text will like refit to the bubble, and won't get like pushed off the bubble or pushed to the side. And I want to figure out how to do that in InDesign, because it would make my life so much easier if I could just resize my bubbles. I don't have to like, because the problem I run into is I'll draw it's a bad way of doing this. What you should do is you should put down your text first and then figure out your bubble size from that, because it's easier to fix your bubble size than it is to like fix the size of your text, because you want it to be like legible. But yeah, but it does suck when I put down a bubble and then I put down my text and it's like, oh, I didn't leave enough room for this text, and then I have to go and remake the bubble. So I would recommend the InDesign approach once I figure it out. Hi, Lino. Hello, baby.
He wants to be in the show.
You want to be on the show? Okay. Yes. He is a superstar. What brush do you line with? So I do all my lining in Procreate with just the Studio pen. I also, when I'm working on 9 Point, which is my color comic, I use the Gisinski ink brush, which I use just for all the coloring. Oh goodness. So yeah, so I don't use any special custom brushes. I did make a custom like eraser brush because I found like the Studio pen doesn't go big enough. So that's why I have my little custom Studio eraser, which goes really thick.
Thick boy.
But yeah, but otherwise I just use the right straight out of the box like Studio pen and ink pens and stuff. I don't have any special pens. Doesn't Webtoon require really small panels? I mean, when I work on a big canvas, I then will size it down. So I'll draw it big so that if I want to print it, I'll have like a nice high quality, high res photo of it. But then when I'm posting it, I'll size it down and I'll usually put it at like 72 DPI, because with web, DPI doesn't matter. So you want smaller DPI on web so that it takes less time to load, because it's just like less information on the file.
Can you export vectors into Ping without losing quality?
Yeah. So the way that works, I don't know the exact science behind it, but basically, different screen sizes have different density of pixel. So what you want to do is when you're exporting a vector, you want to put it at 2 times size or more. I think 2 times is like the general one that most monitors and screens work with, but I think it depends on the device. Like I remember like when I was looking into it, Android devices had different density requirements than iPhones and stuff. But basically when you export it, you're exporting it, I think, at like a higher density, so then it will appear crisp on every monitor. Whereas if you just export like a vector at like 1x density, it can show up blurry on really high-res monitors. So yeah, so that's what I'd recommend. If you're working with Illustrator, I know it's like you export for screens and then it'll give you an option of like if you want it at 1x or 2x. So yeah, that's my explanation for it.
You know what's You know what's another great topic?
What?
You know how everyone hates like GIF versus GIF? No one fights about ping versus PNG. 'Cause
Right.
PNG is stupid.
I like
It's ping.
ping.
Yeah, it's what it's called, and it's easier to. It's less syllables.
It's like saying JPG instead of
Yeah, JPEG
JPEG.
Yeah. or GIF. Who says ping? That's what it's
That's
called.
what it is called.
It's
Say-
a
called
ping
ping.
file.
It's a ping file.
Yeah, they're called pings. I say both. Yeah, I'll say PNG because.
Yeah.
But it's
sometimes.
called ping.
It's called a ping.
It's just like how image file is spelled IMG. You don't say
Yeah.
you don't call it an IMG. You call it an image file.
Exactly. Just because it has a shortcut doesn't mean you don't say the full word. Reading what June said earlier. Studio Pen is excellent for some stabilization and range and size. However, if you want to draw something that appears and has lighter details such as concept work, I use the technical pen. Yeah, I do like the technical pen. I also use the textured ink brush whenever I'm just doing like little sketchy stuff. And I do use the pencil brush as well. Like, I think it's HB. Yeah, the HB pencil. I like that for sketching.
I know PNG is an acronym, but it's not ping, but it's called ping. That's
It's
what
called ping.
that's what the files are called.
That's what everyone says in the industry.
That's the industry talk. Yeah, it's less like I guess it's not on like the streets, you know, like Twitter and stuff. Like everyone, like the normies, the layman's. But like industry wise, they're always called pings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why can't I type today?
It's a
We're
cuter
not
word
wired.
too.
Right?
Ping.
Send me a little ping. Little ping file, please.
What? Ping ping.
What? Oh my goodness, Fido's taken off.
They all say PNG. Everyone's gonna fight us on this. See, I knew it. No one fights this enough. Ping is the superior version.
Does anyone have any more Procreate questions I can answer?
Yeah,
While I'm in a mood.
I guess it's officially pronounced ping, more commonly pronounced PNG. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like GIF. GIF is like the official. Ping is the official. But GIF is better than GIF
Right.
as far as like pronunciation goes, but ping is superior to PNG.
It's not a fight if there's only two people on one side. Hey, we're the underdogs.
It's PNG, you're wrong.
You were messing with our small brains.
Ping is just so cute and simple
Oh.
to say.
What would be the recommendation size for comics in Procreate? So for black and white, basically what I did is I took so I work on 6x9, which is like 6 inches by 9 inches, which is what we print at. And then for black and white, I'd recommend using taking that size and then sizing it up quite a bit. So I use a 4,000 by 7,000 type size for black and white comics because, like I said, you want them to be really crisp. For color, you can do much smaller. Let me check what my size was for 9 point. Shoot, did I get rid of 9 point? I did. Shoot. I mean, I can look at the cover I did for my friend and see what the size was, because it should also be 6x9. Canvas size. Settings. Oh, it just says 6x9 at 300 DPI. So there you go. That is the good way to do it. Yeah. So that's what I'd recommend. Oh shoot, I didn't get rid of it. What am I talking about? It was just down at the bottom. Whoops. I can't believe Guy Fieri is still on there. I'm not getting rid of Girl Fieri. Okay, so for 9 point I worked at 3,150 pixels by 4,000. So half the size of of magpie size. So yeah, for black and white, do huge. For color, you still want it to be pretty big. Like I'd recommend like probably like 250 pixels at the least, because you want it to be, if you plan to print, you want the file to be big so that when you print it, you don't have to worry about it being blurry or too small. So yeah, so work big, and then when you're posting, size it down to save so that it'll upload quickly.
There is a new Magpie update, by the way, on if you
There
go on
was.
our webtoons.
Also working in the color, like because the file isn't so huge, I have like lots of layers. So as you can see, I've got like a ton here.
I'm just in the back trying to stay relevant.
We did, but yeah, you should go to Webtoons or Tapas and check out the Magpie update. There should be a link down below.
Maybe.
Oh, June's got the link. Thank you.
Yeah, but the people in the video won't be able to get it.
That's true, but it should be down below.
You can't. You just clicking the June won't work for you. No,
you
you're
are relevant. Boom.
Aw, thank you. I'm
Aw.
just here trying to upset people by saying ping. I know I only said it to upset you guys. I really don't care what you call it.
I couldn't. Oh no, that's not what. Magpie. There we go. I couldn't find Magpie because it was hiding behind Girl Fury.
People watching the video are dog butt. That's true. They should be here.
Yeah, come on, guys. Why watch our videos when you could be watching our streams live?
Yeah, exactly. Get your horoscope read.
Come on. We'll do your tarot reading and read your horoscope.